Don't let tomorrow's solutions get stuck on today's obstacles. Help move what matters at Iowa State. Iowa State students have big ideas.
My name is Cam Schaefer. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Spock's Sanctuary, which is a exotic companion animal rescue, and we provide other services in education and nutrition.
And it all started with a little help from Cyclones like you.
Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. Terplex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag drone technology and support from Terplex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with Terplex Ag. Visit terplexag.com.
What's going on? It's Williams and Blum Wednesday here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
Cold still, man.
It is still cold. Thank you for that contribution, Brent. Yeah. I'm just kidding. I'm just being a jerk. Clones lost by 15 last night. It's just
they did.
Part of the deal. The Mechdyne Corporation. I want to spell that for you. That is MECHDYNE.com. Always in the Wild Wednesday show, and we are fueled as always by our friends at Cody Road. Chris Williams and Brent Blum with you. Aiden Wyatt is producing as he always does. How are you today, Brenton?
Cold, but no, long night last night. That was a rough one.
I kind of thought. I don't know if you watched my pregame.
I listened to your postgame. I did not watch your
Well,
pregame.
I mean, the game to me felt like an outlier type game.
Yes.
Right, going into it. So I said that before Iowa State lost. This is not me making an excuse. I thought win or loss, it would be. They're a little bit like playing those old Leach Texas Tech teams in the day. It's like, well, we're not really built to stop. You know, I could have seen it going really well.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's kind of like playing the old Hoiberg teams in a way.
Yep. Very similar.
And unfortunately, those guys made a bunch of shots.
Well,
and I to be honest, and I feel like BYU really dictated Iowa State throughout the night.
Absolutely.
It didn't feel to me like, oh man, the Clones are just off. No, I thought BYU really had a great game plan. They were clearly very up for that game, as we kind of thought they would be on Sunday, being 1-2. That they really needed to win that game, and I take my hat off to them. They were just better.
Yeah, that was a game where they were better. I thought schematically they had a great plan, and it's going to be a broken record. We're going to talk about it almost every single game. For Iowa State, it's going to come down to, are you turning them over?
Yeah.
If not, you better hope they miss a bunch of shots. And what BYU had 10 turnovers, which was the fewest Iowa State has allowed all year. It's no coincidence that Iowa State's all losses, have been the 4 fewest turnover games that Iowa State's allowed. I mean, BYU did not get sped up. I thought that was going to be the question. I thought Iowa State's guards could speed them up. I give credit to Hall, the BYU point guard. He was great.
Yeah.
He came to play, and then once they got comfortable, it was really hard for Iowa State to go blow for blow, and then, quite honestly, Iowa State didn't shoot it anywhere near well enough to stay with them. And if you're going to give up 87, then it's going to be hard for this team. I mean, you can complain about the lack of shooting, and Keyshawn's, in particular, had some open looks that he's got to start making. But there's not a whole lot Iowa State could have done once BYU got comfortable. The game was largely set in stone from there.
I wouldn't say I've been critical of Keyshawn, but he was the one guy going in. I had real questions on, like, can his production from the non-conference carry over? And my glass half full deal with him is I still think he's going to be a really good player. I think he'll be a lot better in March than he is now. Like, to me, it just same with Momcilovic, really.
Yeah.
Like, it's their third Big 12 game or whatever.
Fourth,
yeah. That is my hope, is that Iowa State continues to get better. There's still some positives, and that's the bigs are Big 12 ready, good to go. Tough break on the Ward thing.
He earned it.
Yeah, he earned it. I'm not saying that the ref was wrong.
No.
I'm saying I don't think he was trying to like just take that guy out, but he followed through with it, and it was the right call.
My thought on that whole situation, and that was at that point, then the game got out.
The game was over when that happened.
It was probably over anyway.
When that happened, that gave Iowa State any chance that they had. Was
agreed.
Over.
Because Trey was already in foul trouble, and then Iowa State's rotation.
And then you got to go Momcilovic at the 4.
It was hard.
Yeah.
But on that, if that happened on just a regular free throw, but right before then, that guy like laid on Watson for way too long, like an uncomfortable amount of time.
They were getting chippy.
And then Ward kind of shoved him off. And I think it seemed to me, and BYU has this reputation of getting under your Iowa State's skin. And that's really about the only time this year Iowa State kind of lost its cool, lost its composure. And credit to BYU for doing that. But if that sequence before then hadn't happened, I don't know if that's a flagrant 2. But because there was a little skirmish before that, that was the next wave. I saw some people like, well, he shouldn't have been ejected. I was like, I was not surprised.
If that happened to an Iowa State player in Hilton, we would have all lost our minds.
Yeah, I mean,
he
got him pretty good too. But I think the biggest takeaway is, man, that's going to happen on the road. Iowa State did not play well. BYU did. I think the bigger concern for me is Tamin Lipsey's health. And he got hurt with, 4 minutes left with that shoulder. It's kind of been a lingering thing from what it sounds like. It's not overly concerning as of this morning, but that's one of those things of you can lose a game, you can't lose Tamin Lipsey.
Correct.
It's like that's where it gets, that's where my intent was like, oh my gosh, you forget how valuable that guy is until he's not going to be there. But it sounds like he's going to be okay.
That's the vibe I've gotten as well. I mean, I would say like, and I really don't have information. It would be like worst case scenario, maybe one game, but I don't even think that. Like, I think that it's just Tamin. Here's the thing, even like last year, he played hurt for half the year. Like the biggest concern about him is just his general body over 4 years. Like he's had a torn ACL. If you just watch him walking around, he walks around like a 60. Sometimes
and he takes
his back hurts.
The way he plays.
Yeah, Aiden and I were just talking about that.
My gosh,
he's on the floor all the time.
All the time.
He plays his ass off on defense. So that is our vibe. Is that we think he'll probably be good to go on Saturday. Otzelberger, I believe, is having media availability this afternoon or tomorrow, one of the two. We're going to have more. Rob Gray and Connor Ferguson, of course, will be at that. We're going to preview the women's game tonight at Texas Tech. The Cyclones are 5.5-point favorites on the road in Lubbock. I like how we're getting these women's point spreads now. It adds some flair.
Deserved. And then
I love it.
They're 6-0 because TCU decided not to play.
Wild deal.
I haven't seen that in a long time. Like
I've never seen it other than COVID.
Yeah, COVID happened, but I don't remember the
last. Do you know what's
for sure.
going on down there?
Well, their point guard tore ACL on Saturday.
Okay.
They've had other injury concerns. I don't know the full breadth of it because women's basketball gets 13 or 14 scholarships.
No, they get 15.
15.
Yeah. They have 15. The men get 13. The women have 15.
You don't have to use them all. I don't know what their roster situation is. Clearly, they're giving up a home game too. So it's not like they just don't want to go to Ames. Like they are forfeiting their game today as well against Kansas State, which is interesting that now K-State at 6-0.
The standings have already been updated.
Yeah, but
I checked it out this morning. I was like, yes.
The bummer is it can't count for an NCAA tournament purpose. It doesn't count as an overall win. It counts as a conference win, not an overall win. Don't ask me why. I don't know.
That's stupid.
So it doesn't really help the metrics in regards to seeding or anything like that. It does have 12 though.
Well, TCU's not that good anyway.
They aren't.
Yeah, so it's really
you're supposed to win anyway.
That's
so it's
like
really
a quad 3.
Yeah, it's not a huge deal.
Okay.
But you would have beat them at home.
Yeah. Well, I actually am more bummed out for the players and fans because I know a lot of people were
Totally.
I had a lot of people tweeting at me that they were planning on going to that game.
My guy Matt's
on
like, "Hey,
Saturday.
let's hook up at the women's game on Saturday. Like, let's figure it out."
Yeah.
And then like 10 minutes later, oh, game not being played. I don't think Iowa State. I don't think you get your money back either, unfortunately, because it's not a. I don't think it's like a weather event. I don't know. Not that women's tickets are going to set you back that much anyway, but I don't think there's anything Iowa State can do.
It is a real bummer, though, with the momentum that this team has. Let's say they win tonight, and you were looking at 6-0, looking to go 7-0, and it's an opportunity on a Saturday afternoon to get out there in front of kids.
Oh, for
and
sure.
I know that there was kids cheerleading day or something like
I didn't
that.
think about that. And the weather's getting better.
Yeah, so
It is a bummer.
Just from like marketing with the program, that's kind of a crappy deal. We are presented, as always, by Mechdyne. I want to thank our friends over as well at the Iowa State University Foundation. Go to movewhatmatters.com, and you can be a more well-rounded Cyclone. I'm going to have all sorts of information for Forever True Day, which is coming up in April. Movewhatmatters.com. Also, I want to thank my buddy Jeff Kelderman at Kelderman Manufacturing. Kelderman sent me a vomiting emoji last night about...
It's appropriate use of that emoji.
At about 9 o'clock. That's the type of service you're getting over at Kelderman. Kelderman Manufacturing, Kelderman.com. Think of them if you're an engineer out there. You need some laser cutting. That's what they do down there in Oskaloosa, and a heck of a lot more. Kelderman.com. Okay, so let's break down this men's game, and then if you don't want to hear this and you want to go to the women, you can skip. We're going to do a women's preview as well coming up, but we'll go in chronological order. As this happened last night, I actually thought Iowa State played a really, really good offensive first half.
Yeah, they were more than fine.
Really positive stuff. And
Ward was great again in the.
He changes everything with the tips, with the lobs, with his rim protection. It felt like when that Waterford or Waterman or Weatherman or whatever his name out, when he hit that three from Salt Lake City to get things started, it was kind of like,
yeah.
The BYU, I'll give them a lot. They play better defense, too, than I think most people think. They're a top 10 defensive team. They really locked down in the second half. And again, like, I don't know what to say because, like, we're kind of in a lose-lose spot here. My only frustration, it's not with fan passion. It's just, like, let's try and tone down the reactions a little bit. So when you beat Oklahoma State at home by 24, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a 2 seed.
Right.
And when you lose a game on the road, which was an ugly game, and Iowa State greatly benefited from a 9-0 run at the end analytically.
Yeah,
I bet that saved them a couple of spots. Yeah. But this is not the end of the world. Good teams are going to lose in Provo. That was a hell of an atmosphere. I'm already moving on to TCU.
Yeah, it's just a long flight home. That would not.
Oh, that would have been horrible.
It's a long, long way to go.
You get your ass kicked. You got to go back east.
But like
time change.
Curtis Jones said in the post game, he was like, "Well, we got another game on Saturday. Back to it."
Yeah,
that's the great thing is in basketball specifically, it's like flush it, move on, get it out of the way. Real quick on the home court has been a huge factor. We thought it would be this year.
Yeah,
12. Let's take away Oklahoma State because they're 0-2 at home and they're just not very good. The rest of the teams in the Big 12 are 18-5 at home. So it's going to, again, back to the Tim Floyd standings. Winning on the road is going to be hard, but that means you better protect your home floor. And so what does that – I mean, Iowa State goes to TCU, going to be probably a slight underdog there. They're going to be mad. They're going to be next week in Hilton. Again, protecting your home floor is going to be just extremely important. I'm not concerned about this team at all. There's going to be some waves, and Iowa State just got beat by a really good BYU team, and you tip your cap and you hope to see them again on March 6th when those guys will come to town. And I'm guessing, based on how that game played out, I think the Iowa State fan base will be ready to welcome BYU to Ames.
Yeah, really quite natural double header. Like you only get a handful of these teams twice, and I hated it. I called it, this was like a year and a half ago when I had heard that they were going to be like Iowa State's rival or whatever. And I said, that's a terrible break to have to go to Provo every year.
Yep.
And man, what was it? Was it 10 years ago when Edgem flipped off the crowd and all that stuff? And I damn well thought we were getting into a spot like that last night, but then the game just wasn't competitive enough. The 9-0 run at the end, though, probably saved Iowa State.
It could have. I mean, that's the thing is you don't drop analytically much at all. You're down to 15 in Ken Palm.
I was shocked the defense only dropped one spot.
Yeah, I mean, you're just so
it's such a small sample size.
And then a net ranking went down 1. So again, not going to impact things at all. It's just you hope it's not a lingering thing of losing confidence or something like that. And Chris, the one thing that is starting to become an issue with this team is they're just not shooting the ball well from 3 in conference play. I mean, everybody's down.
They're rushed
tremendously. I'm not worried about a guy like Taman. He kind of gets stuck sometimes with, well, the shot clock's winding down, go do something, Taman. So I'm not as concerned about his percentages, but Milan's been okay, but you got to get Curtis or Keyshawn or Trey or Jackson, somebody else to help out with spacing the floor out, because you're going to start to see teams do what they did last year, and that's just pack it in. And you saw when Iowa State really got out of hand in the second half, it was nothing else is working. Let's just drive recklessly to the basket again, and that's just not going to work.
They start to over dribble.
Absolutely.
We've seen that with the guards.
And I give Keyshawn credit. There was that one possession that was pretty telling. He was shot like 3 threes. They're all wide open. Like, he has to keep shooting. And percentage-wise, he was okay at UNLV, but he has not been great. I think he's under 15% now in conference play. It's just, he's got to start making some of those. And like we talked about on Sunday, it's not the end of the world. I mean, Iowa State, if it can get to the free throw line, if it can get those easy twos with those bigs, can survive some of this stuff, but you cannot survive shooting that poorly if you're giving up then 15 threes on the other end. And I think that this is an identity thing for Iowa State, where if Iowa State's not going to turn you over, it's going to be hard. And I don't know if you abandon what you do with the trapping stuff, but like Oklahoma did against Iowa State, BYU handled it great and got wide open looks and made them. And that's going to happen. So you got to pick your poison. Now, if you turn a team over like Iowa State did Houston, and you can hold them to 60, you're going to be in that game.
The game plan defensively is to speed them up.
Yeah,
they don't. Iowa State doesn't change what it does depending, because I was asking a few people questions going into yesterday. I'm like, okay, because I'm just watching. Like, you really couldn't have more opposite of what Houston did with what BYU is going to do. And I was asking a few of the coaches, like, hey, like, do we change any, like, what happens? And it's more like, no, we want to speed them up and hopefully they don't make as many shots, which is what I think is happening to Iowa State shooters. It's, you're used to having this much time. Well, now you only have that much time, so you rush it and your form gets off and then you're screwed. That's what I think has happened with Gilbert in all of the losses. There's one of the games he was okay in the loss, but he speeds up. The other thing too is with Momcilovic, he's being scouted now.
Oh yeah.
For the first time in his career, and he's going to have to fight through that. There's going to be a lull at some point with him, and then my prediction is in a week or two, he'll have a game where he hits like 6 threes, and we're all like, oh, he's over the hump.
Yeah.
Right?
He played fine. Like, he went 1 of 6 from 3, which isn't great, but he's been in double figures every single game in conference play. And in Iowa State, I thought it was interesting. Early in that game, they were running stuff for him. They had him operating a little bit. I thought Iowa State were able to beat their guys off the dribble and then set up the bigs. Well, BYU made a great adjustment at halftime, really packed it in, shut down those driving gaps, and then made Iowa State shoot over the top and just couldn't make it. Then the Ward thing happened. It was like, all right, not our night.
I actually thought, I don't know what happened, but Taman was hurt, obviously. I almost think TJ was just, all right, he waved the flag.
Oh, when Taman got hurt, it's like,
we're just going to get the hell out of here.
Get out of this place.
And he was letting Gilbert run the point there, and he put Baloo in there.
That's the right thing to do. And I actually, One small note of encouragement. I thought Omaha.
He looked okay.
He looked like comfortable. Now it was 3 minutes left in the game. We'll see if that really makes an impact. But at least he got some run. I thought that was nice to see, and he physically looks the part. But I just hope the game slows down.
We'll do our Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment coming up here in
This league
just a little bit. Oof. It's brutal. Let's do the women's game tonight. 5.5-point favorites. All of our women's basketball coverage on Cyclone Fanatic this year is presented by our friends at Caliber, Iowa. We're actually in a Caliber building right now. That's where our studio is located here. The Standard in Ankeny, caliberio.com. They have homes, real estate. They've got property management, all sorts of luxury rental properties all throughout the metro. You can check out their listing. Caliberio.com presents our women's basketball coverage here on Cyclone Fanatic. At Texas Tech, and Iowa State is a road favorite. This Texas Tech team, really good in the non-conference, and they're right down there in the middle. Iowa State deserves to be favored. They should win this game if they play okay.
Agreed. Yeah, it's a tough place to go. Iowa State's had some success there. They don't draw a lot of numbers for women's basketball. Again, very much a middle-of-the-road Big 12 women's basketball team, and if Iowa State, and particularly those freshmen, if the moment's not too big, and there's no reason to think that, I think Iowa State has every chance to get to 7-0, which would be the best start in program history
Feels
in the
like,
Big 12. That's wild.
Maybe it's Caitlin Clark. Maybe it's it just doesn't feel like, I'm not even saying locally, just across the board, I don't think enough, even within the own fan base. I think people are excited about this. I don't know if enough people realize how special this is, how
Unique.
cool this and unique this situation really is to have 5 freshmen like that and really come out of nowhere. I think to a man, all of us would have told you, man, if you could get to the NIT with this team and then just really build the next year, that would have been a majorly successful season, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're looking to, if they start 7-0, so they got to win tonight and they're 7-0. What, they're like 2-3 wins away from being a lock to the NCAA tournament? 4 maybe?
3 or yeah, I mean that's.
They didn't have many wins in the non-con because they were so young in learning. So, but they didn't really have bad losses either. Drake's pretty good. Iowa obviously is in the top 5. Yeah, those teams out in Vegas
Vandy's all right.
were okay.
Yeah, and then once you get past this little stretch here, I mean, you go to that TCU game's canceled. Then you go 2 road trips at KU, at West Virginia. Those games are going to be hard. But, you get a UCF in February. Houston's not quite as good. BYU back home. So, yeah, I mean, you start looking at Cincinnati on March 2nd. Cincinnati's not a great program in women's basketball. The thought is, you get 11-7. You're probably certainly into the dance. And then CW start thinking about, gosh, if you can get to a 13-5 or a 14-4, which I think is entirely possible.
I do too.
You might be able to host an A's.
Great point.
So I mean that's the thing. Is like with women's basketball, you can really, really help yourself, and I'm just super excited for them. I think tonight's gonna be hard though. I think this is a
trap game.
Is a how do you handle success type of moment. It's one thing to win at Oklahoma State when you don't know any better. One thing to win at BYU. I think Texas Tech, who just beat Kansas at home by 10. I mean, this isn't a game where you just show up and win like you could in past years at Texas Tech. I think this thing could go down to the wire, and I think the line's probably right. I'd say obviously it's a favorite, but this would mean a lot too. That's a tough place to go play, long road trip, and you hope those freshmen. Somebody named them. Give them credit. I think it was our guy Chris Shipley. Maybe it was Chris Shipley. He said, "How about the Fresh 5? Not the Fab 5, the Fresh 5." I was like, all right, we can work with that. But yeah, they are must-watch appointment television right now. I'm very much enjoying this group.
That is a 6 o'clock start.
Yeah, if anybody's in the area, so I'm going to be down slinging drinks at Iowa Distilling Company tonight.
Oh, wow.
Little We Will fundraiser.
You're tending bar?
I'm tending bar.
Wow.
It's tip the bartender night. Seriously, that's what they do. I will pour.
That sounds
strong.
And that's down in Cumming, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds like a hell of a time.
There you go. Game watch.
I can't make it. I got dance night.
Yeah.
Gotta take the girls to dance.
Well, it's probably been canceled for a couple weeks.
It has been. Yeah, Elise is raring to go to get her rear end back to dance. So that's where I'll be tonight. Straight dance dad. Thanks our friends at Gravitate Co-working, gravitatecoworking.com for all of your co-working needs here in the Des Moines Metro. Also, Hope Wood, if you're thinking about getting a will in a day.
I sent Hope an email yesterday.
Really?
I said, let's do it.
Let's get it. Let's get
it done. The cold, I don't know if it was a cold, if it was shoveling.
You thought
it was
about
a near heart
you thought
attack.
You were going to die.
I did. It's like, I got to get
Did
this
you
figured
actually
out.
get out and work on your driveway?
I did. Now,
because I was told that you hired somebody.
well, I did some.
Because okay.
We did some. I did our
okay.
like
making sure we're all on the same page.
I
here.
did the patio and the some of the then the city plow.
It's
put
the
a
worst.
10-foot. I can't shovel that. I can't.
You're right on
snow
a
blow
corner
it.
too,
Yeah.
so they're putting everything. Yeah, it's you have to with these city plows get out there a couple times. Otherwise, it just continues to pile
It's
up.
a bad deal right now.
Well, and then like with this one, it got so cold.
Turn into ice.
Yeah,
It's heavy.
and it was really impossible.
Seriously, I shoveled for a little bit and I couldn't really do it, and I was like, Hope, let's chat.
Yeah. This last winter storm finally convinced Blum to get his will.
That's right.
With our friend Hope Wood. Wiffles Hybrids presents our Big 12 segment. Plant your independence, plant Wiffles. Kansas goes on the road and kills Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is clearly the worst team in this league.
Yeah. Yeah, this is probably it for old Coach Boynton down there.
90-66. That was a 7-point spread.
Oof.
So those Oklahoma State Lions are going to start to get huge.
Yes, they are.
We had a couple of overtime games in the Big 12 last night. Kansas State and Jerome Tang take care of business at home against number 9 Baylor, 68-64. Is Tang?
I don't know.
Are they overachieving, or is this what they should be doing?
They are overachieving, but I don't know. I mean, who's the best team in the Big 12 right
Has
now?
Baylor impressed you?
No,
That's the thing. Like
Nope.
every time I watch them, it's like
have not.
that's it, Scott. Like
Same thought.
they're good.
They're
I mean, I'm not
fine
saying they
basketball
suck.
players. No.
They deserve their ranking, but I'm not blown away by them.
I don't
this
think
year.
they're as good as they were last year. I don't.
So we think really, you've got Kansas, you've got Houston, and then there's a drop off. I mean, Iowa State can beat anybody at home. Baylor can beat anybody at home. Kansas State can beat anybody.
Houston's 1 and 2. I do think they're
but they're. Did you see their line for tonight?
They play tonight.
They're playing a top 25 team, Texas Tech at home. What do you think the line is for that game tonight?
13.
12.5.
Yeah, I would not giving advice, but
Well, that's a line where most people see that number next to Texas 12. No, that's a sucker's bet right there. I'm telling you.
that's a 20-point game.
I still think Houston.
I
They
agree.
should have They should have won at TCU. And like this is the point I made on my post game last night, and this is why it just for fans about the overreaction to wins and losses. Do you realize one whistle goes differently against Houston and Iowa State loses?
Yeah.
You know, like that's what I'm saying. Like it's so razor thin the margin in these games, and last night's game was not that. Obviously, you know, a million whistles could have gone a different way, and Iowa State's going to lose that one. But like Houston, like people are down on them now. Like to me, like they are still.
I think they're better than Kansas. Kansas's starting 5 is the best in the conference. They have a supreme drop off after that. And so if they get into a game of attrition, they're going to struggle. But when they get things rolling, I mean, Dickinson and McCullough are arguably 2 of the 5 best players in the league, and they'll be first team all Big 12. They just haven't got a whole lot else from other contributors. And, you know, if they do, they could be a dangerous team. But again, last night, C-Dub, this is the crazy thing with Kansas. They score 90. How much does their bench have? 9 points.
That's wild.
Like it's not going to work the whole season. When they shoot it well like they did, and they had Dickinson going, they're going to beat a lot of teams. And then Oklahoma State, you just not a threat, really. So I don't think you can take a whole lot from that. I still think this Houston's the best, most talented team. but I think there's 6 teams that will be kind of in that jumble. I don't believe Texas Tech's one of them, though. That's why
I don't either.
I would really lean on Houston tonight.
No, I think it's. Then you've got your Iowa State,
Baylor,
BYU, Baylor,
Baylor.
Oklahoma.
Yep.
Maybe Texas.
Maybe.
Doubt it. I doubt it. Maybe
They're gonna be good at
Texas
home.
Tech.
Texas can be good at home.
Texas is a 8.5-point favorite over Central Florida tonight. Again, Houston 12.5 against Texas Tech. And then Oklahoma favored by 12.5 at home against West Virginia.
BYU impressed me. I'll give them that.
They were way better than I thought, especially with those guys.
I'm there with the attitude of we can bully these guys, just be more physical, and it didn't play out that way. So I think Pope's a good coach too. I mean, he had those guys well scouted. He had them physically ready to go for that game, and their transition is going okay. So I was impressed by them. And again, Iowa State let them get too comfortable. I think that game is markedly different in Ames because I think Iowa State can rattle them in Hilton.
Yeah.
But in their home gym, I think they're going to be tough for most teams.
Let's go through our comments here. I don't know why Cole's got to do this to me. He's watching on YouTube. He says, side note, 25 years ago today was the Gary Anderson kick. Aiden, do you even know what that is? Do you even know what the Gary Anderson kick is?
I think you should explain it to me as if I've never heard of it before.
Shut up.
Yes, I've heard of it.
Aiden wasn't even alive then. Did you know that?
Is that right?
Yeah, we were. I was showing him old.
I can still do the Dirty Bird dance. Can you do the Dirty Bird dance? You want me to do it on YouTube?
Screw you.
That's right.
That was 1998. I remember
Jamal Anderson
crying like a baby that Sunday afternoon. I was in my parents' living room. I was 14. My dad had to come and basically like pick my ass up and be like, be a man. Screw you, Dad. You've already got all these championships.
You got beat by Chris Chandler. Ask him if the field goal might have been good.
Did you know that Gary Anderson had to go into like hiding after that?
Probably still in hiding.
He moved He moved like out into the wilderness because Vikings fans hate him so much. It's like that guy for the Dolphins in Ace Ventura.
Finkel or Einhorn?
Finkel is
Finkel.
Einhorn.
Yeah,
Einhorn is
Finkel. Yeah.
Derek says the Gary Anderson kick is one of my first significant sports memories.
Sorry.
Seems appropriate as a lifelong.
You guys have
Vikings
had
fan.
this does not help your week being a Vikings fan.
I was actually just on the phone with a Browns fan, and my buddy who's a Browns fan went to Houston last week to watch that debacle, the playoff game.
I can't even imagine.
And I told him, I said, I actually think it's time for us to quit fighting. And like you and me and like Bills fans, we all just need to like root for the Bills.
Just get
All
one
these-
at a time.
All these tortured
What about
franchises.
Lions?
I can't root for the Lions.
You
I'm
just
sorry.
can't?
No.
I mean, that was a pretty cool moment.
No, I'm glad they won one game, but that they
done?
need to
You're
stay
over?
little brother. They need
Yeah.
to lose. They're going to beat the Bucks suck.
Do they though?
Yeah.
Baker, that's your guy.
I know I love Baker, but I don't think they're very good. The division's terrible. The Lions will win that. They will cover against the Bucks, and then they will get destroyed by San Francisco.
Are we in a world where Brock Purdy is going to be playing in the Super Bowl?
I believe so.
In Packers and then Lions?
Yeah,
Both
they
at
will,
home?
They will destroy the
They'll be
Lions.
touchdown.
The Packers are way better than the Lions. In my opinion.
What's the Niners line this week? 6, 7?
No, it's way more than that.
Yeah, say
It's like 9.5, I think.
I
That seems a little bit much. Green Bay, it's 9.5 right
they
now.
are.
If you want to watch Brock, the 49ers Green Bay game is at Saturday night, 7:15 on Fox.
When does Iowa State play?
1 o'clock.
Perfect.
So we got a perfect day.
Is
of
that
football.
1 o'clock or 3 o'clock? Because
1 o'clock.
it's 1 o'clock. Okay, is that a fit? Because at one point it was 1 or 3.
It's 1 o'clock.
Okay.
1 o'clock in Fort Worth.
Okay.
I also know some Cowboys fans who had already booked tickets. They were going to do the Iowa State game and then go to the Cowboys game afterwards, and that didn't exactly play out very well. How about our guy AJ Klein coming out of nowhere? Matty Van Winkle's at my house.
That is
We're watching
nuts.
that game.
I was like, is he still playing?
I knew that he had been cut. And stuff.
That's what I thought too. I was
I
like, why
had
is
no
he out
idea
there?
he was going to be on my TV watching that
How
game.
cool is that?
And now he's front and center against Patrick Mahomes in this divisional round game on Sunday.
Cyclones in the NFL make the playoffs so much more fun.
Oh, it's changed my love for the game.
Yeah,
When
You're not alone.
when Niang and Morris and Thomas and all those guys went to the NBA, like I bought the ticket, I started watching it more. The problem for me is all those guys were in the West Coast, so it made it really hard with them tipping off all the time at 9 o'clock. It was hard. Well, Tyrese is kind of in the NFL thing. I've never in my life being able to look you in the eye and say, I can have a conversation if I like the NFL or college more. I'm still a college guy, okay? But I'm considerably more into the NFL because of all these
It's
guys.
a really good product right now. Interestingly, this makes everyone feel old. How old do you think AJ Klein is?
Well,
okay, so you're going to do the math. And we're like,
30?
32.
Wow. Jeez.
Remember
That does make me feel
him
old.
and Jake.
I remember when AJ was a freshman.
Yeah. Kimberly, Wisconsin. AJ Klein.
What a
Still
badass.
kicking. What a badass.
All right, so
he
we've
is.
got Klein, we've got Purdy, and we have Anthony Johnson
Xavier Hutchinson.
and Xavier Hutchinson, and he's getting some catches.
getting some catches.
He's playing some real ball
Yeah.
for Houston.
Yeah.
Real quick, the picks are: you play Houston 9.5. We're gonna wait for the San Francisco. All the public money will come in on Green Bay, and then we'll bet San Francisco. You should have already.
I don't think the public money's coming on Green Bay. I think they're living.
Okay.
Living
Well,
on
if
the
that
thread.
gets to 10, then take Green Bay. You should have already bet the Lions when it was at like 6. That's going to go over a touchdown right now. You're screwed. Get out of that. And you should definitely.
Montgomery. You didn't mention David
Oh,
Montgomery.
yeah.
Come on now.
Of course. And then Buffalo. I love Buffalo under a field goal against Kansas City. Hammer the Bills. That will be up to 3 here before too long. There you go. There's my
The
takes.
Bills are really injured right now.
Charlie Kohler. Thanks,
Charlie
Joe.
Kohler. Sheesh. So I've got a couple texts and tweets from people asking if Iowa State's interested in Caden Proctor because he's now
He's
in the
not
portal.
going to Iowa State. What? Come on.
Yes, of course they'd be interested. But come on now, people.
Blum, how much does Caden Proctor go for on the open market? $1 million? $1 million a year?
No. Not that much. I mean, although freshman tackle starter in the SEC for Alabama, not that. Maybe not $1 million, but
600,000, 700,000?
yeah, probably.
And he is leaving for sure. He's not going to hear out DeBoer
I mean, again, it's smart of these guys.
to declare. And
That's
then
what
they
happened to
can
the
get-
Ohio State guy
Mhm.
that Iowa State was interested in. He left Ohio State or went in the portal and then ended up Ohio State's completely loaded. Ended up getting paid over there, apparently. So I don't know. I could see a world where Proctor ends up at like or we'll see though. I mean, Alabama's lost several. Washington's already lost some guys, so it's just it's an interesting week.
I don't think this DeBoer is going to be a
I don't know.
home run there. It feels.
I don't know. Do you know what they just hired as their defensive coordinator? See this yesterday?
Maurice Lindquist,
Lindquist.
former Paul Rhodes
That's
assistant,
right.
secondary coach for
Secondary,
Paul
yep.
Rhodes.
Yep. Just got let go of
What's
Buffalo.
wild to me is all of these head coaches that are leaving head coaching jobs to become coordinators to like double their pay.
Yeah.
Like Lindquist is like, I'm going to leave my head coaching job and I'm going to go be a coordinator. I'm going to make twice as much money.
Well, did you see Iowa just announced, and this is in our state, and again, Phil Parker, the defensive coordinator, won the whatever assistant coach
Broyles
of the year.
Award.
He's getting $2 million a year now.
Well, he's earned it.
I mean,
That son of a bitch should be making like 5.
for what he's had to do. But it's crazy. And that's where it's like, honestly, sometimes you lose the argument of like, there's not enough money. Well,
They're not helping themselves when it comes to these
coordinator
players. I'm
stuff.
telling you.
$2 million in Iowa. Good
No,
for, good
you're
for
right
that
on,
guy.
on Proctor. He is not.
Oh,
and
he's not going to Iowa either, by the way.
No. I mean, why would you? They don't even have a coordinator yet. Like, that doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense either. My point is, this is a guy projected to be like a top 10 draft pick.
Yeah.
He's not. I just wish, like, would Iowa State have gotten Alan Lazard in this era?
I don't know.
It would have been pretty tough.
It would have been hard. Yeah. No,
Because that's a guy, because he
and
was so highly
realistically,
touted.
he wanted to leave when Rhodes left.
Yeah, he's on the record. He told
Yeah.
me that on a podcast.
And he would have left in the current climate
Mhm.
and made a lot of money somewhere, but he couldn't because then he had to sit out a year and didn't want to sit out a year.
Yeah, because he was wanting to get to the pros. What a time to be
Yeah.
alive.
So yeah, that's no. So I appreciate the suggestion that people have reached out to me that we should get in touch with Caden.
Have you not talked to him yet?
Noted. I appreciate.
Hey, Caden. All right, here's the deal. We've got these pizzas. If we can sell enough pizzas, we can offer you $20,000.
It'd be more than that. It'd be more than that. FYI.
I know. I'm just screwing
I
around.
know you are.
Just having a little fun.
Just a
here.
little fun on a Wednesday.
All right. That's it for today's show.
Let's beat
Unless you have anything else to get
let's
to.
beat the Lady Raiders tonight. Locked in.
5.5-point favorites. The
Good. It's good to
men-
see, by the way, good to see Tyrese on the broadcast
Yeah.
last night. That was really neat.
He needed to just let go a little bit. He was too busy watching the game.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
I wanted to hear his commentary.
Yeah, at the same time, if I'm the player, like Tyrese, you do the game for us.
Yeah,
man,
like
pal.
he's so much more personality than that, but he was so
he was
locked
so
into
lo-
that
he
game.
was. Tyrese is a legend in a lot of ways. Love that guy.
He's the best. Like, if he were here in that chair right now, he could talk for 3 hours.
Yeah,
And you wouldn't
they
even
should have
need
just
to.
let him. He was. I mean, at that point, he was great to see him, but like he was clearly just wanting to watch the game.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Let's we'll do this again on Sunday night. Aiden, do we have any other pods between now and Sunday? What do we have coming up this weekend? Let them cook.
They're out already.
They're out already.
Oh, they had Woody's podcast had our guy Ari Temkin on. That was really
that
well
was a
done.
really good show.
Yeah,
really,
awesome
really good show. Ari's good stuff.
Ari, I love Ari.
The Woody that pod's kind of catching its legs a little bit, right? Like
Yeah, you better hop on the wagon now.
yeah, those guys are kind of feeling each other. Like that's a really good show now. It takes any sort of a pairing just a little bit.
They got a good.
Yeah,
they got
those
a good
guys
thing
are,
going.
finally hitting their stride.
One real quick thing, and again, somebody said, "Hey, you talk too much about NIL on this." So I was like, I'm cognizant of that. Tickets are still on sale for the We Will Cyclone Fanatic recruiting party, February 7th. Just found out. Speaking of the NFL playoffs, we may have an autographed helmet by a certain quarterback in San Francisco that will be available.
Man, what would that go for?
We'll see.
Feel like too, it's like it's something I'd like to bid on, but I'm just wasting my time. Like,
Yeah, I
shouldn't
think you're
even
probably.
waste, I shouldn't
but I'm
even
just-
waste
but
my
that-
energy to
dude,
write my name.
That is the caliber of things that will be available, not only for auction, but some for a raffle as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's just the highest bidder.
That'll be fun.
It'll be fun.
That's the 7th
7th
of
in Ankeny.
February at Toast.
Toasted it, and it's a complimentary Ames lager all night.
Oh,
Yeah.
boom!
Yes.
Are we gonna have pizzas?
There will be pizzas there, but that's not the main. That'll be the appetizer. We're
I'm
gonna
fine.
have Matt Campbell's favorite meal:
What's that?
braised short ribs.
Matt Campbell's favorite meal is braised short ribs.
Yep. So the guy that caters for the football team and recruits is catering for us. Braised short ribs.
Okay, then.
There you go. Fancy.
All righty. He is Brent Bloom. For Aiden Wyatt, my name is Chris Williams. Of course, we are presented by our friends at Mechdyne. We are doing this show every Wednesday live here from the Wild Rose Casino Studios on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. Have a great Wednesday. Enjoy watching the game tonight.